first thing to know is that normally we have millions of bacteria living in our intestine, and they play many roles in keeping us healthy. Sometimes there can be a disruption, a big change in that ecosystem, so to say, and that can happen for many reasons, but one of them are antibiotics. And when that happens, one can develop some infections that can be significant and sometimes fatal. And so we have a treatment nowadays that's called fecal transplant. It's reintroducing normal bacteria into that patient who's suffering from this in order to restore their gut health. Basically, the understanding is that there's an imbalance in the microbiome, and therefore the whole bacterial pool is not just bacteria, it's parasites also, it's viruses, but they have to be completely replaced and put a different flora. We understand this now because we understand that the flora, the bacteria, play a role in our immune system. So they help us defend the body against infections. We do it in our endoscopy center, but it's an ambulatory procedure. It's very much like a colonoscopy. So the patient has colon prep, so we get rid of all the stool that the patient already has in their gastrointestinal tract, and we replace that with new stool, and this is done via colonoscopy. Patients who have developed recurrent infections from a bacterium that's called C. difficile, Clostridium difficile. So these patients have received several courses of antibiotics, and even though sometimes they respond to antibiotics, as soon as the antibiotics are finished, they have the infection again. It's called recurrent infection. Or sometimes resistant infection, where they don't respond to the antibiotics at all. Patients actually initially are concerned about this because it's something that's investigational and new, and they don't know a lot about it, and that's why I like to have a long consultation before doing this. But afterwards, patients are tremendously satisfied because they have been feeling normally very debilitated. When one has a recurrent infection, it's not like an acute thing where it goes away very easily. Recurrent infections are very debilitating, so patients normally are very happy with it. So in terms of the safety, there are two parts to it. One is the fact that we are transplanting stool. The other part is that there's a procedure involved that's a colonoscopy. So for the colonoscopy, the safety is pretty clear. We have an anesthesiologist in the room at all times. The anesthesiologist is there when the patient goes to sleep and is also the first person the patient sees after they wake up. So the patient's fully monitored at all times. And we do the colonoscopy just like a regular colonoscopy. The fecal transplant itself is still considered investigational, but so far has been tremendously safe. In terms of the use of this procedure, today it's approved only for the treatment of a recurrent type of colitis, a recurrent type of bacterial colitis. But there seems to be a lot of potential for this. It's being studied for a number of different conditions that affect the GI tract, and also other conditions that have to do with metabolic syndrome, etc. So we see that there's tremendous potential here. So the patients can receive the fecal matter from a universal donor, or they can receive the fecal matter for somebody that they know, like a family member, for example. In either case, we have the donor go through a very rigorous screening that includes an interview and includes stool analysis and blood analysis.